Nerdrotic.com.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Nerdrotic Nooner. My name is Gary Vickler, and I am live in San Francisco, California, lovingly known as Poop City. If you go down to 6th Street, good chance you'll see a needle and some poop, or maybe a needle in some poop. I'm sorry to start out so crudely, but that is my beloved city. And that's just what we have to deal with. So, greetings. Let's see who we have here today. Okay, sorry I was late. That thumbnail took a little longer than I thought it would. And then my camera decided not to work, and I had to update it. I use a Logitech Brio 4K. It's kind of awful. It has all kinds of problems. And it always resets its settings and stuff. So it's time to get a new camera. So we got Mutated Genome, Convol, Zacharot, Mongoose McQueen. The gavel is Sound Gavel. Mikey Woods and his wrench. Hail, Mikey Woods. Snatchface the Fool. Cesario JPN. Matthew Matson and his wrench. Spike in Madness. 14 Barber with a poop emoji. Humor Waffles. Chris P. CM Shazam. C Walker 94. Riff Magos. Charles Burnett, Larry, Captain Infinity, Jad Vagrant, Inut Ardelian, oh my god, it's moving up on me, Grey Ghost, Hector Figueroa, Bird of Prey 5, Kaplaw and his wrench, Professor X Parrot, Silly Goose, Jacodia, Dan Kogan, Norwegian Kryptonian, K Silvermore, Chris P again, and I don't want to repeat new names here, and Mage Grey Wolf, Darkstar 76, Generial 1, Robert Frey, CT555, call me Fives. I'll call you Fives. LT Showcase, Nicholas Horton. Welcome, Nicholas Horton. Echo Watt. The Nerdrotics are here. Okay. So this is one of those days where I want to talk about something else. We can certainly, hey, we're going to talk about whatever you want to talk about. So if you need to get some Star Trek and Doctor Who stuff off your chest, feel free. This is a free place for people to come. We'll start out. I don't care what movie you like or TV show you like. We can always find common ground in nerddom, despite what some say about yours truly. Which is, I mean, they're free to say it, and that's fine. I have no problem. I was up really late last night, like irresponsibly late, watching live streams and videos, getting caught up on what's going on YouTube, and which is something you have to do, and plus it's entertaining. It's very entertaining, and wow. But what I wanted to talk about today was I saw the D+ trailer with Loki, Winter Soldier, or Falcon and Winter Soldier, and WandaVision, and I had previously said that I was not very excited about. None of these they sounded really bland and prequelish. But now that I've seen the little snippets, it looks pretty interesting, I have to say. WandaVision in particular, which I thought I just couldn't get my head around what they were trying to do. It still could go horribly wrong, and of course it could go woke, but there's a percentage. I'm willing to give Kevin Feige a percentage of the doubt now. Everything he said in public is looking like we're headed straight into the MCU. But I don't know. Did I coin that phrase? I don't know. I used it in a title a long time ago. It doesn't really matter if I did or didn't, to be honest with you. I think I coined every phrase. No, I'm just kidding. So I saw this little trailer, and I was always kind of interested in Loki because it's basically going to be Doctor Who. But the WandaVision looked interesting. I'll just say that. My eyebrow is raised. It looks interesting. And, it reminded me of a podcast. I did 3 or 4 shows on this. My co-host at the time was never really into the topic. My co-host at the time hated speculation, which is it's tough to YouTube if you don't like speculation, but it's possible. But these were done like 4 years ago when nobody was listening or very few people were listening. And it was mainly, I did my stuff for iTunes, and it was Star Wars versus Marvel. And I was, because everything was looking great at the time. Disney had just purchased Star Wars. Marvel was just getting going. But I said, what happens when it's all over? What happens when they go into the unknown? Disney Star Wars had this anchor of their trilogy films, their main story. Now, a lot of us didn't buy into it, yours truly. But it still was guaranteed money. Sorry, I'm going to shut down my other computer. It's bugging me. It's guaranteed money for Disney. It's a guaranteed cash flow. However you look at it. Now that cash flow has gone way down, but it was a guaranteed cash flow, and they don't have that anymore. So they are venturing into the unknown, and Disney had just went on a spending spree to get Fox and all these IPs. And the reason Disney Star Wars rushed out with Star Wars films is they needed to make money immediately. And, come on, don't be a pain in the ass. And that's why they rushed it and didn't take the 3 or 4 years they should have taken to plan and map everything out. I'm sure they learned their lesson. I think Disney could have survived those 3 or 4 years while they're mapping out Star Wars on Marvel alone, but they got greedy. And you know what? Up front, they made a bunch of money, but they burned up any possibility of making it in the future, or as much as they would like to. Now, fandom is a fickle thing. Superhero movies have been around for 20 years now. Man, it's a long time. And if you look back, like the Westerns lasted quite a long time, but everything comes to an end. So Disney has all these IPs. They just bought Fox. There's this giant paradigm shift going on in Hollywood. And, I just did some podcasts on some what ifs, basically. Some what happens when one starts to fail and one is doing okay, but you see bad signs. These things are awfully expensive to produce. So they start to saddle the company at some point. Now, Star Wars isn't saddling Disney yet, neither is Marvel, but they could. And I think Star Wars faster than Marvel. I think Marvel can survive a bad year, 2 or 3 bad movies, but not much more than that. They can't survive 5 bad movies in a row and 3 horrible TV shows. That's something they can't survive. But we'll see. It looks like, certainly on the TV side, just on the surface with these, it doesn't look like they're venturing into identity politics, and maybe they're moving away from that. And that is a good thing. That is a good thing, and we'll just get some TV. With Star Wars, maybe the Kenobi movie will be their next movie. Who cares? I mean, it's great to see Ewan McGregor back. Honestly, I'd rather watch a TV series, especially if it was directed by Deborah Chow, than a 2-hour movie of Kenobi babysitter, babysitting a guy who's eventually going to quit on his family and be a grumpy uncle on an island. I just don't care. So they venture into the unknown, and I think it's something I'd love to hear from you on. And What do you guys think? I mean, do you think it's fine? Like the Mandalorian should carry through. And hey, listen, the Mandalorian is very successful. I think what I've heard is Disney Plus has over 20 million subscribers now. If they're counting their Verizon customers, I don't know. I'm not taking them at their word. I'm not saying they're out and out lying, but they're probably spinning it in the most positive way. Can we say that? I think we can all agree on that. Just as CBS All Access does. But they still have, Amazon, who has, endless money, and Netflix, which still has 140 million subscribers, maybe more. And then HBO Max is coming in. And I think that's the one that's going to do really well. That's the one I'll probably watch the most if HBO does. I mean, HBO's always been woke in a lot of their shows. But they've also made some very good shows in the past, some very, very good shows. And they can be rated R and they can be as adult as they want, all on the same streaming service. So I think they have a leg up on Disney. I think Disney really paints themselves in the corner doing that really family-oriented PG-13 thing. And that's why they bought Hulu. But that mixes people up. That's another service that is just, I wouldn't bother if I didn't have a channel. I would probably rather go a la carte and just pay for whatever show I wanted to watch individually. That would be the way I would do it personally. But yeah, well, let's see. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Sony's Marvel, which this is just my speculation. The last article I read was a couple weeks ago, and the Morbius trailer was pretty good. I have to say, it was pretty damn good. And I think it's funny, by Sony being kind of stuck in the past might be an asset. That might be an advantage. Not an asset, an advantage. Words. Yeah, I think Avi Arad is so far gone, he's back again. And honestly, I think it looked good. And what they could do with Spider-Man in the future, like putting Spider-Man in a rated R movie, that's a possibility. That'd be cool. I've heard replacing him with Miles Morales. Sony's too greedy, I think, to do that. I think Sony would just have both of them do a separate universe. They don't care about confusion. They're going to two Spider-Mans going on. You can get a Spider-Man movie every year, a Miles movie and a Peter movie. Why not? Sony's original idea was great, and I wish they would have stuck with it. They wanted to do Spider-Man like Bond, and they were just going to recast him every 2 or 3 or 4 movies, get a new director, and I think that actually would have worked. I think they should stick with that with comic book movies. I don't think one actor should play one role, and as much as, say, Robert Downey Jr. defines... sorry again. This phone is just endless today. It defines the role. The role doesn't belong to him. You give it some time and stuff, and maybe it's tough, but Doctor Who's proven, until recently, that you can change the face and you can move on. People get over it. You just give it some time in between movies. Bond has proven it. I don't think retiring a character is the best way to go. And what's eventually going to happen with the Marvel universe is they're going to have to reboot the whole damn universe, which then you might as well have just recast people and moved on from there. And I don't know, I would have preferred that, but that's not what we're going to get. So this year with Marvel, we get Black Widow, which looks like Winter Soldier Light, honestly. The only problem I have with it is it's a dead character and it's a prequel. I'm so tired of these. I think in a way it's like Solo, except it has the main star in it. And I like ScarJo, and she should have gotten a movie 7 years ago. Honestly, I mean, I loved her in Iron Man 2. And I like the character of Black Widow ever since, I'd known about her, but when I got attached to the character Black Widow was through Frank Miller's Daredevil. When he redefined a lot of characters like the Punisher, Daredevil, Bullseye. That brilliant run, that brilliant run. Man, I read those comic books so much. I still have my original copies when I bought was a kid, they're beat to hell. So I have another, I have a CG Seed set, which is unreadable. So I have my beat up reader copies of my CG Seed set. Was Jeremy on Red Letter Media's Cap Marvel video? I don't know. Was he, Cracklin? For $1.99? I'm not too sure. Is this a new one or is it an old one? I heard they might have referred to him at one point or another. That's big time. That's big time. Okay, and we're also going to talk about, I don't have time limits today, fortunately. So I want to talk a little Wins a Winner. Wins a Winner. We're supposed to get that book this year. I meant to do a video on this, and I still might. I did a video last year on George R. R. Martin promising to have the book finished by July, which means we would receive it by the end of the year. It takes a few months to print it, and and if he's truly that close to being done, then they are pretty much, I'm guessing, in the editing phase. There was an interesting statement in an article that I'll bring up a little bit later that almost sounded like he's working on Winds of Winter and Dream of Spring at the same time, which he might be. I don't know if he's out and out denied it. The funny thing is, I look every day. I've looked every day for years. And if you type in Winds of Winter book news, the Express UK will have a new article every single day. And the latest one is hilarious because they refer to a very funny Reddit name, which we'll read in a second. So, but yes, he's supposed to go. If he isn't done with the book, we're supposed to put him on the White Island, which is an island in a sulfuric acid lake in New Zealand, which that's a little bit harsh. But I'm dying for this book. I'll be honest with you. I reread the Forsaken chapter like for the 20th time this morning. After my little morning nap, because I was up stupid late last night. And that's why we were a little late. That and the thumbnail and the camera. But I don't know. I think the focus for Marvel this year is probably going to be Disney Plus. I think I'm more excited for the Disney Plus stuff. Now, the Loki series is not till 2021. And we're getting WandaVision in August. I'm sorry. Falcon and Winter Soldier in August, and then WandaVision after that. So I think Disney Plus will probably start kicking in, because we also get The Mandalorian season 2 in October, and that's a pretty fast turnaround. That's a normal TV turnaround. So Doctor Who, how can The Mandalorian do such a fast turnaround, and Doctor Who can't? I find that very hard to believe, except for there's more talented people involved. My only hope for The Mandalorian, so I can stay interested, is they don't try to connect it to the Disney trilogy and just have him go off on his own adventure into the unknown regions or someplace. It's a big galaxy, but they're already talking about bringing in, I watched Ryan Cannell's video today, about bringing in legacy characters, and it's like, oh, don't do that. Maybe in the background, you see, like, off in the distance, Luke Skywalker come down and see a lightsaber, do some lightsabering, do some Jedi shite, and then leave. But I don't know. I prefer it to stay in its own thing, to keep it pure in a way. And we'll see if it improves. Well, I still maintain it was very mediocre. It had some good episodes, but it was just, and maybe they were just trying to start out as basic as possible, and they'll make it a little more sophisticated as time goes on. That'd be great. That would be great. Don't think it'll happen though, but that'll be great. Let's go a little bit of chat here. We've got George. I hate it when it jumps on me like this. Money, Gary. It's all about money. The Mandalorian has Disney money behind so it can do the turnaround. Doctor Who has Beeb money so it can't. Nah, that's true, Will. That's true. But you know what? That might help your turnaround. But if you're a creative person, which Russell T Davies and Moffat were, but I think with a lot of the delays, yeah, it's really not creative at all at the BBC. You're right. It's they dole out their money when they have it, and sometimes they flat out don't have it, and it doesn't feel like they put a bunch of money into Series 12 at all. I'll check. I don't think we got the consolidated ratings yet, but I can check. Doctor Who ratings accumulator. Da-da. And I got a couple of emails this morning. I really just want to publicly thank some people. I can't say their names, but for looking out for me. I just thank you. I get emails when, because I mean, I don't look for this stuff. I really don't. I don't assume people are talking. I don't think I'm that exciting. So I don't think people are talking about me in a negative way. I don't know why. I don't know. No accumulated ratings yet. That might be another day or so. But just thank you for having my back and making me aware of situations that I was not aware of. And that's because I'm not on Twitter. I have a Discord, but I don't use it. I'm going to be shutting it down because I don't use it. I just don't have time for it. What's up, Tom from Midnight's Edge? And again, thank you for having my back, for letting me know that there's a channel impersonating me. I'm still waiting to get my trademark registration number because I can't find it, so I had to call my liar, my liar. But let's go here. Let's start out with that Game of Thrones thing. That was pretty funny. And yeah, the Express. It's the Daily Express. They advertise the hell out of this, and yeah, it's funny. I'll just show you guys. And I read it every day. I just want to read this book. I want it so bad, especially after Game of Thrones season 8. It's the only thing that's going to help because I know I'll get George R. Martin closure with this book. I know the book is not going to end well. He's been warning us since he started writing it. It's going to end bittersweet. So I think Bran becoming the king and Jon killing Daenerys, I think that happens in the book. How we get there, I don't know. And, there's the whole, we're not going to get a Night King. Night King was a show creation. And I think the big bad is going to be Euron, who is on the thumbnail, by the way. If you're wondering who that is behind George, that is Euron Greyjoy, a character they destroyed in the show, who was such a good character. He is the worst villain ever. He makes Ramsay look like a school teacher. Joffrey look like a kindergartner. I've got. I was watching that Chibs video by those kids who Flower Production. I have freaking ABBA in my head now. This is terrible. Okay. So the Daily Express with their I think it's 2 times daily at this point. Their daily Winds of Winter news. So again, if you type in Winds of Winter book news, Daily Express will have an article that you can read that they found, that they extrapolated off of Reddit. So, Winds of Winter release date, huge hint, George R. R. Martin announcement imminent. The Winds of Winter release date could be imminent after a possible update on Game of Thrones creator George R. R. Martin's website by George Simpson. We're now in the 2nd month of 2020 and still no news on the Winds of Winter's release date. However, some fans wonder if there's a big hint on the website. Reddit user Anus Frey wrote, I know it's probably won't amount to anything, but George's website seems to have had another small update. Anus Frey continues. The fan continued, maybe I'm just imagining things and it's always been there, but there now seems to be advertising space. Advertising space on his website? What? Maybe to capitalize on all web traffic the site will receive when wins is announced, LOL. However, they did later add, edit, it's now gone, LOL, oh well. Nevertheless, it's certainly intriguing. There has been another interesting update on Game of Thrones creator George R. R. Martin's website before. Just a few months ago, a new publication section appeared on the book's main page. Could it be there, ready to put the Winds of Winter release date? Certainly, Martin has shared his own personal deadline of July 29th, 2020. This is when he attends Worldcon in New Zealand, and he wrote on his blog needing to have the Winds of Winter in his hand when he goes there, or fans should lock him away to write. Okay. Meanwhile, A Song of Ice and Fire expert Brendan B. Fish feels confident that the Winds of Winter will be published in 2020 after all, thanks to his sources. He tweeted in late December, all teasing aside, I think 2020 will be the year the Winds of Winter gets published. I have faith in my sources. However, he doubts that Martin will meet his July deadline, with the release date being more likely in late 2020. Yes, I believe it'll be announced. I think George R. R. Martin, he didn't say book in hand. He said it'll be done by the time he goes to the... So basically what they do is they'll extrapolate a Reddit post, refer back to 2 previous articles, get 3 paragraphs out of it, and I love it. I got frustrated with it, and then I just started having a good time with it. But there is an article that came out about a month ago that we're going to go over that is interesting. Let's see if I can dig that up real quick. You know, and it's... No, it's not it. Winds of Winter. No, an ending, but not the ending. That was the headline. Here we go. And this one's from The Independent.
You know how some people like to name their cars?
Jesus Christ. Got to make sure that doesn't get popped up. And why is that all zoomed in? That's crazy. All right, let's go here. I got to make sure that trailer doesn't... All right. So George R. R. Martin, people know an ending to Game of Thrones, but not the ending. Author is currently working on the final 2 books in his Song of Ice and Fire series. Final 2 books. I always just assumed, I know the rumor has been out there that he'd been working on both at the same time, and that's why it took so long. And if that is indeed the case, then at least for me, all is forgiven. All is forgiven. And then I might even apologize to him, because if he comes out and goes, well, I got, but remember, Dance with Dragons and A Feast for Crows were the same book. And he split them up, and then he spent 5 years re-editing one. So it doesn't guarantee it's going to come out in a reasonable amount of time. But if he has like most of it written, then I would have to say all is forgiven. Because part of the reason we're frustrated with this delay is there's another book after this. So here we go. George R. R. Martin has spoken out once again about his intentions for the final 2 books, The Winds of Winter and A Dream of Spring. In his Song of Ice and Fire series, the author, who has addressed the backlash to the final season of the hit HBO series on a number of occasions, says that the TV ending is definitely not the full story, which I don't think any of us thought it was. People know an ending, but not the ending, he told German newspaper Welt. According to Esquire, the makers of the TV show had overtaken me, which I didn't expect. He apparently commented that season 8 was not completely faithful to his vision for the show, although some of the show's stars had previously suggested otherwise. Yeah, and they couldn't have known, because George wasn't really involved with the show towards the end in any way, shape, or form for the last 3 or 4 seasons. I think he dipped on 4 or 5. He apparently commented that season 8 was not completely faithful to his vision for the show, although some of the show stars had, oh, I already read that. God damn it. I am working in a very different medium than Dan and Dave. Never forget, Martin said. They had 6 hours for this final season. Because that's what they gave themselves. They could have had more. I expect the last 2 books of mine will fill 3,000 manuscript pages between them before I'm done. And if more pages and chapters and scenes are needed, I'll add them, which is usually what he does, why it takes so long. And of course, the butterfly effect will be at work as well. Those of you who follow this Not a Blog will know that I've been talking about that since season 1. There are characters who never made it into the screen at all, and others who died in the show but still live in the books. So if nothing else, the readers will learn what happened to Jane Poole, Lady Stoneheart, Penny and her pig, Skaha's shave pate, Ariane Martell, Darkstar, Victorian Greyjoy, Sir Garland the Gallant, Aegon, and a myriad of other characters, both great and small, that viewers of the show never had the chance to meet. And yes, there will be unicorns of a sort. Martin also addressed the pleasure he felt to finish the books as the HBO series surpassed his place in the story. The pressure, not pleasure, Jesus. Every day I sat down to write, and even if I had a good day, and a good day for me is 3 or 4 pages, I'd feel terrible because I'd be thinking, my God, I have to finish the book. I've only written 4 pages when I should have written 40, he said. But having the show finish is freeing because I'm at my own pace now. I have good days and I have bad days, and the stress is far less, although it's still there. Last year, Martin wrote in his post blog speculating about which direction the book would take. How will it all end? I hear people asking, he wrote. The same ending as the show, different? Well, yes and no. And yes and no. And yes and no. And yes. I expect these last 2 books of mine will fill 3,000 manuscript pages between them before I'm done. And if more pages and chapters are needed, I will add them. Book or show, which will be the real ending? He continued. It's a silly question. How many children did Scarlett O'Hara have? He said, referencing the heroine of Gone with the Wind. How about this? I'll write it, you read it, then everyone can make up their own mind and argue about it on the internet. And that's what we're going to do. The real ending is in the books. Duh. The real ending is in the books. It's the source material. The real Spider-Man is not in the MCU. The real Cap is not Chris Evans. The real Tony Stark is not Robert Downey Jr. Hang on, I gotta mute my mic. I gotta sneeze real quick. Okay. Thank you. Back to you, chat. I think it's interesting. 3,000 pages. But if you do the math, and if he just wrote 1 page a day, he'd be done with the book. So there are large amounts of time he is not writing the book. Large amounts of time. Bump. All right. To you guys. Scottish Nerd for $2. Hail, Gary. So long as you're the real one, that is. Well, I might not be. You never know. Look for that check mark, though. Look for that check mark. By the way, the Nooner from yesterday will be up on Nerdrotic Live today. I'll post that before I post this one. These will both be on there today. Cracklin, $4.99. If they were realistic on Star Trek Picard, San Fran would have been a giant turd mountain riddled with needles. Yes, absolutely. Although you'd think they could transport the turds out of there, but they couldn't transport Daj. Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably be live tonight after Picard. They've been airing it at 11 my time, which is decently early. So I can do a little live show about a half hour, 35 minutes after it airs tonight. So I'll probably be on after Picard. So we'll do that. When is your Witcher review dropping? Looking to get your take on it. See, Walker, it's about 1/3 of the way done, and I keep getting distracted with stuff because of Momrotic. My plan is to have it done this weekend. I'm going to review Birds of Prey, but that shouldn't be too difficult because I'll just, I'll keep that one short. It won't be like my Fall of Skywalker review, which was somewhat detailed and 30 minutes long. I'll make my Birds of Prey review like my Joker review. It'll be 10 or 12 minutes, give you my thoughts. I don't, honestly, Grace Randolph, I know she reviewed it already and she said it was meh. But prior to that, she said they were trying to make it like the Amelie of comic book movies, which is, that's going to be tough. For one, Amelie is a great movie. So I don't know if they can actually pull that off, and we'll see. But we already see the spin. And my last video, just to be clear, wasn't about the movie. It was about popping off before the movie. And that's it. I haven't seen the movie yet, so I don't know if it's going to be good or bad. I suspect it'll probably be bad because they just lifted the review embargo today. And of course, it's amazing. Well, then why did they have a review embargo? I don't understand it unless you'd never have a review embargo to the day of film with a good film. It almost never happens. So we'll see. I'll find out. I'm going to see it tomorrow at 6. I don't think I'll go live. I'll just make a video because I don't think enough people are going to watch this movie. And they've already changed the numbers on us, like I said they would do at the end of the video, that they've already lowered it from 140 million worldwide to 110, 120, which is probably what it'll make, simply because it has Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, and she was good in Suicide Squad. I also like Joel Kinnaman in Suicide Squad. I thought the first 15 minutes were great. It's a movie that went downhill so fast you almost got whiplash. It had one of the best trailers. I had high hopes for that movie. I thought it was going to be really good. It's too bad it wasn't. And it's too bad that they got, James Gunn version will probably be interesting. We haven't heard much lately on that, have we? C.W. Walker, 94 for $5. So thank you again. Boo, man. Come on, Gary. Wake the hell up. I'm going to shoot for this weekend. I know it's going to be really late, and I don't give a crap. And thank you for asking, and I'm going to review it. It will come out. And I'm going to review The Boys as well. I figure, listen, the big boys like Red Letter Media, they come out with reviews whenever the hell I want. And listen, with most channels, it's best to be timely. I understand that. It's not going to be a very hot topic for the algorithm, but I just don't care. I liked it. That much. Darkstar76 for $5. Hail, Gary, watching while I'm grilling my weekly chicken. Yum. Oh, that sounds good. Smell, oh, chat. Yes. I'm interested in the Bucky show. I'm interested in it too. I like the fact that Falcon's going to be Falcon. And we've already discussed this. Bucky should have the shield. Falcon's power set doesn't really... the shield isn't very complimentary. He's got wings on his arms and he's got to throw a shield. It just doesn't make sense. He has no powers unless they're going to give him powers. They're going to have U.S. Agent in it, which is, that's kind of cool. But they can always spin it. If it's going to be more, it depends on how they do it. I came to a realization yesterday while I was watching the Wonder Woman trailer. I'm like, oh, Max Lord is supposed to be the Orange Man. God dang it. But hopefully it won't be so on the nose and it'll be subtle and we can enjoy the movie. It still looks like a pretty decent movie. I like Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman quite a bit. Hail, is Exozone still on tomorrow? It is not, Bird of Prey 5. Doomcock can't make it and I can't make it. I might be leaving town. But thanks for asking. It's on next week for sure. My schedule is going to be nuts. And I said it last live stream. I've got a sick mother and also in a very bad situation that we need to get worked out. 14 Barber for £2. Is it bad? I hope to see Picard shart in that show. Yes. No. We probably will. It's going to be another episode on Earth, I believe. So, listen, I said it last night in the High Council. I'll say it here. There's a lot of people watching this show who do not watch Star Trek Discovery, so they're not familiar with Alex Kurtzman television shows. They're assuming they're watching a mystery being built, and they will get a very satisfying or somewhat satisfying answer to their questions, because we got Mystery Box, Picard Hard, CSI going on right now. And they're going to, I don't know, it just depends. It depends on how analytical they are when they get to the end. Picard is appealing to the most casual Star Trek fan, hypnosis Star Trek fan, and this is just my belief, and normies. That's it. But we'll see. We're only 2 episodes in, and it could get magnificent. We had a change of showrunners about a third of the way through. Alex Kurtzman was running the show, then Michael Chabon took over. Something very similar happened with Star Trek Discovery Season 2, and you could see that change. It wasn't for the better. Maybe it will be for the better in this show. I am open-minded to that. Felipe Abrigo for 5,000 Chilean pesos. Hello, Dr. Gary. I was a bit high last night. That's all. Good for you. And I thought of a ship that changes its geometry and then goes to warp, morphing itself like Odo. That would be cool, like an Interstellar Overdrive XD. That is a cool idea. I mean, there's probably some sci-fi, just somebody's read every book going, they've actually done that in Robert Jordan's series. No, I don't know. But yeah, that's a cool idea. I like that. You know what? Some of the best ideas you get are when you're high. I'm not going to deny that. I just can't do it because if I get high, I can't just have a sip of alcohol or take one hit off a joint or a little tooty toot of the booger sugar. No, the minute I do that, there's a chemical imbalance in my brain where an obsessive compulsive disorder kicks in. That's the best way to put it. The commonality with recovering drug addicts is dopamine distribution. Our brains don't distribute it right, and that's part of the disease of alcoholism. So if I do a little toot of Coke that night, I'll want to get an 8-ball and go to Las Vegas and get a bunch of, just every drug in the book, every pill in the book, and go party like it's $20.99. And just it won't end well. It might be entertaining here on YouTube for like a week. I might actually put out some pretty good content, and then you'll never see me again, which some people might like. I might get packages from Colombia in my P.O. box. By the way, I did go buy my P.O. box, but I haven't opened anything. Okay. So I figure at the end of Friday Night Tights, I'm going to do a little toxic mailbag. I'm going to bring that back. Also, we're having a patron on this week, so look for that. Planes Tunes. Tell me how to pronounce your name. For $4.99. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. It's Plain SN Tunes. Hail. What do you think of the possible replacement of Tom Holland with Miles Morales? I love your show. Listen all the time. Why, thank you. Please just tell me in the chat how to pronounce your name properly. You don't have to give another super chat. I think it's terrible. I think they're leaving money on the table. Do I think they could do it? Yes, absolutely. I'm not going to deny that at all. I think you could have both Spider-Mans existing. I think Sony would do an Ultimate Universe. Why not? That way you could stagger and just put a Spider-Man movie out every year. And quite frankly, I think Sony could be better than Marvel. Yes, I know it sounds insane, but considering the direction that Marvel says they're going in, okay? Now, I'm just going off of what they said in public. I don't know yet, but what I saw of that Morbius trailer and the foundation we saw with Venom, which I thought was a good movie, it's not going to win any Academy Awards. I don't need my superhero movies to do that. I really liked Shazam, Aquaman, Venom, because they weren't woke. They weren't breaking any ground or pushing any boundaries. But I liked those three movies because they were fun superhero movies. And they were kind of lighthearted in a way, and they weren't nihilistic and freaking postmodern. They were just superhero movies, and they were good. Joker came along, changed everything. Absolutely everything. And what Joker changed, the MCU is going to have to do at some point. You're going to have to get way more sophisticated with your storytelling. You cannot be cookie cutter. And we'll see. Black Widow will be the first. We'll find out. I will say right now, I do not think Black Widow is going to be this giant woke fest. I don't think so. And knowing the history of the character, a lot of the things that they're doing with strong, powerful females in films these days are something they were doing with Black Widow decades ago in the comic. Now, they're desexualizing her a little bit, which it was a major part of the character, which is disappointing, but maybe they don't in this one. We'll see. And I could be wrong. It could be completely woke. And if it is, I will tell you. But I don't think it will be. But I could be wrong. I think it's just going to be an average movie. It'll be just kind of like Ant-Man and Wasp. Although I didn't like that movie very much. I think it'll be a little better than that. Cracklin, again, for $1.99. Was Jeremy on Red Letter Media's Cap Marvel video? What is their Cap Marvel? Captain America Marvel video? Is it an old one, Cracklin? I'm looking at it right now. Oh, that came out a long time ago. Oh, Captain Marvel video. Maybe. I think he got mentioned in it. And again, that's big time. Good for Jeremy. Good for my pal Jeremy. Slightly above average. Something. Johnson. Steve. No, I'm just kidding, Jeremy. Steve-O for $4.99. Hail, Gary. Doomcock recommended The Outsider to you a few days ago and was curious if you had a chance to catch it yet. Keep up the good work, sir. Thank you very much. No, I have not. Mrs. Nerdrotic and I are going to watch that this weekend. I'm also going to watch Avenue 5. And yeah, there's two shows. Is it Avenue 5? The one that looks all hitchhikery a little bit. I've been meaning to watch that. I'm not quite caught up on things yet. But thank you. Yeah, that trip, I'm still catching up from that trip to San Diego. But it's cool. And again, it's not all channel stuff. It's a lot of life stuff. Man, live streaming is my favorite thing to do. This is my favorite thing to do. This is the best job I've ever had. Will it last forever? No job does. If I can get a couple, 3 years out of this, I would consider that a victory, and I can do my next thing with pride. And we'll see how long it lasts, but I'm having a lot of fun. It's work, but not in the sense of, listen, I've done real jobs and I've worked 9-to-5s, blue collar most of my life. Did my retailer thing too, but prior to the comic shop, I sold auto parts. I worked on cars. I delivered auto parts. I fought fires when I was younger, worked for CDF for a year. I've done all kinds of stuff. I've actually laid railroad track. Yes, I have. I have actually done that. One of my sister's boyfriends did it for a living, and I would go help him on weekends. Oh man, that was not fun. You get paid a lot though, and you work like a graveyard shift. So I got a little extra money doing that. Not my favorite thing in the world. No. Fighting fires was more difficult, but the pay was better and it was more rewarding considering where I was at the time. It was great. Felipe Abrigo for 2,500 Chilean pesos. Oh no, that would be an impulse ship that identifies itself as a warp ship. Bad idea. Maybe. I actually thought it was a good idea. It falsely identifies itself, though. Well, it can identify however it likes, according to Star Wars. You can just give yourself a name. Like, Felipe, I am now Gary Abrigo. Because I want to be. You're not going to tell me how I can live my life. Now, that's the part now, that's just trailer gobbledygook. But, instead of in a world, we're getting, you have no idea who I am. And you're not going to tell me how to live because I'm empowered, stunning, and brave. It's like, okay. But I don't think that's going to be the whole movie. Stargate 404 for $5. What's your thoughts on the petition to remove the demon Amber Turd from Aquaman? I guess it's true that they say about the hot ones being crazy. Oh, she's a redhead, right? I mean, listen, Dave Cullen aside, gingers tend to be a bit fiery, okay? They do. Should she be fired? No. That's not up to me. I wouldn't sign that petition because I'm really anti-cancel culture. And if we're just tit for tat, we have to do the same thing we do with her. It sucks to hear, but due process, let the courts figure it out. And if she goes to counseling and she is truly sorry and she comes out and apologizes to Johnny Depp accepts that apology and says everything's cool, I think she should keep her job. If she continues that behavior, I can't see her keeping her job. I can't see Warner Brothers taking her on because that was foul. That was disgusting. That was no way to treat that guy. Justice for Johnny Depp. What I would rather see is Johnny get his roles back immediately. Like immediately, Johnny Depp should get his Pirates role back. Everything and all that shit that was talked about him. And again, credit to crazy ass J.K. Rowling for backing him up because she knew the truth. So we have to credit her too. Now, she's nuts. All right. Don't get me wrong, but they're all nuts. If you listen to that recording, like these are the people telling us how to live our lives and virtue signaling. And this is, you get to the bottom of why they do it because some people, not all, are foul in that town. They are just nasty and they want to be the good guys. They want to be redeemed because they know they've been nasty for so long. That's why I didn't like it down there. The whole culture, Dave Chappelle talked about this quite a bit. The whole culture is you have to be duplicitous. You have to be a duplicitous, backstabbing, manipulative a-hole to succeed in that town. Good people make it through. Genuinely good people make it through, but not often. You have to always be looking over your shoulder and you have to be the kind of person, you walk into an office and it's even at the lower levels where I worked in post-production and all the compression and QC and all that. There was still shit talking everywhere. People, just the worst. I told the story of the guy I was chaptering for iTunes, which was the simplest job in the world. You basically segmented scenes in a film and you wrote chapter 1, chapter 2. You separated the scenes for a menu on your iTunes so you can jump to chapters on your movie. I was doing that for a while. I would do the night shift. An unnamed guy would do the day shift. This dude was so paranoid that I was going to take his job. I wanted the night shift. I specifically asked for it. I did not want to work during the day. I wanted to work at night. I was a night person. And it was also, I was working on getting better at editing so I can apply to editing jobs. It was just a temporary job. I wasn't going to be there forever. I was going to be there for like 3 or 4 months. This guy was so paranoid I was going to take his job that he started effing up. So I would finish my work. He would come in the next day and jack up my work and then go to the boss and say, look at this guy's jacked up work. Now, at first, I genuinely thought it was me. I'm like, man, maybe I'm not getting this. Maybe I'm an idiot. Until I found out from somebody that he was jacking up my work. And I'm like, wow. And that was for like an $18 an hour job, which I had to take while I was running the comic shop. So I was running a comic shop, working this night shift and doing this chaptering. And this guy was jacking up my work because he thought I was going to take his $18 an hour job and willing to lie about it and stuff. And that is just one example. I saw so many people crying in public at Technicolor. I would go down, I was smoking at the time, had my smoke break, and there was a girl crying. And it wasn't over a boyfriend or a girlfriend. It was over the job. It was over the job. And she was one of the project managers. So, yeah, it's a shitty town. And, you know, people, if you're strong enough to deal with that, if you're just really okay with being manipulative and not ever trusting your friends and being really duplicitous, you will succeed there. You will be okay. And wasn't my scene. I was a little too in your face. I was going to end up in an HR department. I yelled at a couple people who were, a couple of bosses. And lucky I kept my job. They really needed somebody late at night. That's probably the reason I kept my job. But I had some little Napoleonic boss just pulling some shit. And I yelled at the guy. I was ready to quit at that point, and they kept me on. It was pretty funny. So it's back to Amber Heard. I think she should keep her job if she does the work to win back the public trust, the trust of her employers. She apologizes. Most importantly, make amends with Johnny. I hope his kids weren't around at any of this. And after Johnny Depp gets his roles back, sure. Will I be sad if she's fired, Stargate 404? No, because she definitely has it coming. But if we start canceling, and for one, it's a petition, so it's just a way for people to speak their mind. I don't think, and you know, maybe it does send a message, maybe it doesn't. Go ahead and sign it if you want. I'm not telling you what to do. Me personally, I think we need to be consistent on the canceling thing. That's all. At least I need to be. You can do. This could be an exception. I would be open to that. In the OC, only seen 30 tickets sold for Birds of Prey, Stargate 404, and that's Orange County, California, which has millions of people. Oh, let's go. Let's take a look. We're a day out. Let's take a look at Fandango. We'll go to the show I'm going to. I know I blasted out publicly the show I'm going to, but it's date night. So, yeah. I'm not going to be meeting up with anybody. We'll say. It's a date night. Type in my zip code. By the way, saw 1917. It was great. Great film. Great film. Where are you? Where'd it go? Oh, it's not out yet. That's why. I got to put that in there. There's my 6 p.m. show. And survey says. Oh my God, they've sold 3 more tickets. Oh, man. Oh, that's not what I wanted to show you. You get to see all the inside analytics. There you go. There we go. That is my show. So you guys, if you are, if you watch Friday Night Tights, I showed this show at Friday. I purchased these tickets, by the way. It's these tickets right here are my tickets. And this ticket was sold. That was Thursday. We are now day before. This is the opening show, earliest possible show, preview night. And this ticket sold, and this ticket sold. It sold 3 tickets since last Thursday. I don't think it's going to be a hit. I could be wrong. This should have been a limited release, and maybe they should have saved it for HBO Max. And again, I'm not saying I could like the movie if it's not like this woke, uber over the top feminist. I mean, just superficial dumb feminism like what was in Captain Marvel. I might like it. I like quirky little movies, and I like Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. I just love the fact that they try to play that they're being like this is feminist in any way. These women are still all sexed up and dolled up. They're still wearing makeup. It's not going to satisfy who you want. You might satisfy the Mary Sue, and you know what? They can have their movies too. There's just not enough of you out there. The Birds, it's a comic book property. Hey, you know what? You know how they could have made money without changing a fucking thing from the story? Have the superheroes look like the superheroes. At least make an effort. Harley Quinn doesn't even look like Harley Quinn. It looks like Margot Robbie doing some very expensive cosplay with her own stylist. There's no effort to make them look like the comic book characters. I have as much of a problem with that as I do with any wokeness or anything that doesn't belong in a comic book mill or just on the nose stuff. If you want to be talented about this and be a writer who can get these messages through without alienating anybody, but again, that requires talent, and maybe there is. I know very little about the people who are behind this film. My beef is with the media and the giant corporations that just go out there and think they can make truth. If you haven't noticed, that's pretty much a general theme with my news videos. The intention of this channel is talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of pop culture and reviews. I like to review things. Unfortunately, Star Wars took over my life and it kept me from reviewing The Expanse, The Boys, and The Witcher. And I'm going to fix that. Algorithm be damned. But that's not looking good. Let's go to another show, shall we? Now, again, if you saw my video, and if you didn't, that's cool. It's out there. You can watch it. The IMAX shows are pretty much sold out. The one IMAX show. That might be promotional. And then there's another theater in downtown San Francisco that's small, but it's like right in the heart of San Francisco. That one sold like 60 tickets. So that was pretty well. And and the ones I showed in my video were the only 3 I found that had sold a lot of tickets, just in the interest of fairness. So we can go to another show. Let's just go to the show after this one. Let's go to the show after this one, shall we? Little update. Now, this is a little better. This is the 9:30 show. Still not great. They're still in a lot of trouble. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 tickets sold. 23 tickets sold. It's the day before. Now, will they sell out this show? No. Will they crowd this theater? Yes. But, dude, there is multiple showings in multiple theaters. It's oversaturated, for one. Again, this should have been a limited release, and it probably would have done better if it's good. I just don't. I have my doubts. But, if it is, I'll tell you again. I want DC to succeed. I think Marvel is vulnerable right now, and I think people are hungry for something different. So as Marvel has just retired 2 characters, this is what boggles my mind. This is what boggles my goddamn mind. You took Captain America and Iron Man, arguably a B-list, C-list character, and a D-list, E-list character, and you turned them into A-list characters. You turned them into Superman and Batman. That will never be done again. And you retired them. You retired guaranteed money. People would be upset. I miss, listen, Chris Evans can be replaced, folks. I'm sorry. He was a good Cap. But a lot of handsome, chiseled men can play stoic. Tony Stark, that'll be tougher, but it still can be done. You know, you just cast that Tony Stark knowing, you know what? I'm going to be the second best Tony Stark. There's nothing wrong with that. You would still be Iron Man. It would still be continuing that universe. You can just swap out the faces like a Bond film. But no, we're gonna keep introducing characters, and now we're gonna get a dead character prequel and the Eternals. Now, the Eternals are very pretty comic books. They are. They're not very good, and if they were, they would have lasted longer. They came out in an era where they were printing millions of comic books, and they just didn't sell. Now, you could argue that at the time, people were kind of down on Kirby. Kids didn't like Kirby. I was one of them. I didn't like Kirby or Ditko when I was a kid. I learned the error of my ways later, but I wasn't into it. I was into John Byrne art, Frank Miller art. Kirby looked blocky and chunky, and I didn't understand. My brain was still developing. Please forgive me. I was a dumb teenager, as opposed to being a dumb adult. But kids weren't into it. The Eternals weren't that engaging of a book, but again, they're beautiful. The art is gorgeous now, and I own them. But there's no real hook story. There's the Gaiman story out there that I didn't like very much, but some people did. It sold really well. It sold really, really well at my store. Okay, let's go to another show here. So that was Daly City. Let's go to San Francisco. Now this one, let's go to the Metreon. This is the IMAX show that I was telling you about. In the interest of fairness. Which looks, again, people just go to IMAX. I mean, this is a real IMAX theater. By the way, it's not one of the fake IMAX theaters. That's why it sells out all the time. It is freaking huge, giant screen with like 72 speakers. It's I saw Spider-Man 2 on this. The Dark Knight. It's a badass theater. It is a great theater, and it's the tickets are ridiculously expensive. So that sold pretty well. I forgot what those tickets were again. Yeah, it's like $25. So we'll go to find a standard theater. It's a little better, but not great. Again, this is the biggest theater in San Francisco. It is downtown San Francisco in the heart of it all. The Sony Metreon used to be a great place to go. There used to be a giant arcade in it. On the top level, they had the Where the Wild Things Are exhibit. It looks like Starfleet from the outside. It's right next to the Museum of Modern Art. Used to be right next to the Cartoon Art Museum. There used to be a Virgin Megastore 2 blocks away. I used to go down and hang out down there all the time. Now there's nothing. Twitter is around the corner. San Francisco, where I went to school, San Francisco State Extended, where I did the video intensive, was close to there. But yeah. So that's not bad, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38 tickets sold. It's not very impressive. We'll go to the next show. It's still early on this one. Uh-oh. That's not looking good. All right, we're going to go to the 9:30 show. Again, this is the Sony. Well, it used to be called the Sony Metreon. And it used to be owned by Sony, and they had a giant Sony store in it too. Oh, those were the days. Yep. This movie's dead, folks. It Now, the reason I bring this up is I don't like wake up in the morning going, I want movies to fail. I really want to discourage this marketing that is, it's divisive. It alienates people. It's not like we're all yay misogyny. Nobody is yay misogyny. But when you hear about it from people like Ewan McGregor, and I don't want to bring this up because his personal life is his personal life, but when they start telling us how to live our personal lives, and Ewan McGregor knows what it's like, how, what, women deal with every day. And you know what? It might be true in Hollywood. I don't doubt that at all. I don't doubt that at all. But the preaching coming from people, again, just replay the Amber Heard audio. That's the norm in Hollywood. That is more the norm than what would be considered normal, basic civil behavior. Quite frankly, they sounded like they were on drugs to me. That sounded like a drug-addled argument. I've been in them, so I know. And it could be any, not just like hard drugs. Like there is a opioid epidemic in this country, but it's really bad in Hollywood. Okay. And it says it right there on the side of your pain medication bottle for oxycodone or Vicodin, affects your judgment. And that's the first one people think doesn't apply to them. Like, even when I was dabbling in this stuff, when I fell off the wagon, I never thought it affected my judgment. It made me a different person. It did. It really affects how you see the world, makes you a little more paranoid. You're a little more sensitive. It really makes you soft. I mean, that's the thing is, you get really puffy. It's just, God, opiates are terrible. So gross. And coming off them is the worst ever. All right. Let's talk about fun stuff again. So it looks like Birds of Prey is going to go Birds of Preying for ticket sales. Did you like that one? I did. I hope they don't fall prey to their own woke, fake, superficial marketing. Stargate 404. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the reminder. Thank you for your support. You are brilliant. I appreciate you. Raiders of the Lost Flicks for $5. What's up, man? How's it going? Good job on the Birds of Prey video. The SJWs are coming after me too. Let them. Raiders of the Lost Flicks, if they're coming after you, that means you pressed a button. You pressed a button. And that's good. Honestly, if they want to come in here and debate, I'm open to it. I'm not open to opening up my channel to people who just want to bring it down. Like their only interest is petty jealousy and stuff like that. If you like me and Anti-Trekker, we disagree on some stuff, but I love Anti-Trekker. So, I mean, he can, he's been pushing it a little bit lately, basically insinuating that some of us are lying. Again, the common argument is we are grifting. We wake up in the morning and make shit up to get mad about. No, I mean, everything you see a video that I'll only speak for myself. It's a subject I care about. That's it. I don't do video after video on that stuff. I figure one is enough to say my piece, but if other people want to do it, that's fine. That's awesome. And especially some of the people throwing those stones are the same people who would put up multiple videos. Some aren't, and that's fine. But I'd be open to having a conversation because all fandom is welcome here. Even if you like The Last Jedi, we just don't have to talk about that. It probably wouldn't be, if you see Star Wars in the title, it's probably not the best place to come. But I have no problem with any Star Wars fan of any kind, ever. If you like the new stuff, like it. There's plenty of places to go where you can go like it. But this really, I don't want to put this on the millennials because you're not all bad. We'll just say there's a rule of thought out there with some that if you are criticizing a film, you're criticizing that person personally. Every time I see that, and I talked about this on my on my Patreon live stream. It's like, I just think we're in a great country. That's why I wore my Captain America shirt today. We're in a great country where the worst thing that's happened to somebody is somebody criticized Star Wars. And they think it's breaking fandom and it's ruining fandom when this is fandom. This has always been fandom. This will always be fandom. It goes along with that logic. Like, if one person does something under a hashtag, everybody's responsible for what that one person did, which is a childish mentality. So I am responsible for what my youngest son does. My 14-year-old son goes out and hurts somebody or does something, I'm going to hear about it because he is my direct responsibility. He is my child. Anything outside of my own actions. The minute he turns 18 and moves out, he is no longer my responsibility. He does something, I'm going to support him, back him, but I wouldn't get blowback from it. So there's a bunch of adults out there who identify with the hashtag. Are there bad actors? Sure. Doing their bad actor stuff. I'm not responsible for it. Somebody brought it up yesterday that other people make other people look bad. No, I don't have power over anybody else. Nobody has power over my channel. I make myself look bad. That's the only person. I don't have any power over you liking or not liking a movie. You might disagree with me, disagree with my points. That's fine. That's fine. But don't get too wrapped up in it. There's enough to talk about out there, good and bad, to keep a channel going forever. It's pop culture. They always do something dumb. They always produce something amazing eventually. The dumb happens more often, but for every, 10 Captain Marvels would get a Joker, it's almost worth it. It's almost worth it, really. But yeah, I would love to be just enjoying good TV and talking about good TV. Would it be better for the algorithm? I don't know. We don't have enough good TV yet. When I was covering Westworld, season 1, and when I was covering Mr. Robot, it did really well for my channel. My channel was much smaller, but we got good crowds. I loved Westworld season 1. I still do. I just pretend season 2 doesn't exist, and I'm going to cover season 3. It's going to be out in a couple of weeks. Unfortunately, it went way too off the rails identity politics. But usually, Nolan is pretty damn good. So I hopefully he will take over the reins. It feels like last season was a little more Abrams influenced than Lisa Joy, but we'll see. I went off on a tangent right there, but thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah, they're gonna come for you, and they are coming for Lord of the Rings too. That's a video for the future. James No for $4.99. Have you talked about The Stand? They're remaking the miniseries for next year, and it's probably got me excited more than any upcoming shows. Are they? Yeah, I love The Stand. It's the one Stephen King story. It's from his good era. I'm not that much of a Stephen King fan, but I went through my Stephen King phase. Yeah, I am excited. If they do it right, I love The Stand. I still love that story. But I'm waiting to hear more news. As soon as we get, unfortunately, again, because of Star Wars, I missed the big Lord of the Rings news where they cast a bunch of people. But I will do a Lord of the Rings video prepping for, because I will be covering it heavily on this channel. Like every little bit of news, I will be covering it on a live stream or in a video. And I'll be covering every episode, and I will gather, there's a couple of YouTubers out there who are into Lord of the Rings as much as I am, who I will bring on, and we will just geek out, and hopefully it's good. Gray Ghost for $5. Over on Slick Deals, there's a post that Adam was advertising five tickets for $25 Bird of Prey tickets, IMAX and Dolby even. Adam changed to 5 for $35 the day before going live. That's why those tickets are selling. Ah, I understand now. I do understand now. Interesting. Thank you, Grey Ghost, for the $5. Adam, Half Lives Matter. Or, I'm sorry, Atomic Half Lives Matter for £2. Have you ever done the Yub Nub by the Pale Moonlight? I actually have, Adam. I've done it without shame, and I don't kiss and tell, though. I don't kiss and tell. Felipe Abrigo for 2,500 Chilean pesos. Hey, don't stole my last name. Yours is weird, but mine is weirder. Abrigo is way better than Beekler. Yeah, it's a weird last name. The reason it's a weird last name because it's actually Buckler, and then the way my family pronounced it when they came over here, when the communists drove them off their own frickin' land, they pronounced it Buchla. And the Americans on Ellis Island couldn't pronounce it, so they said Beekler, and then they put the E in the wrong place. So it's Buechler. It looks like Buechler, but it's pronounced Beekler on the West Coast. It's pronounced Buechler on the East Coast. I don't know why. The name I was born with, it's funny, Robert Meyer Burnett just did a live stream talking to his sister that he just met through adoption. That happened to me too. So I'm adopted. I was born David Knight. I had the most normal last name, but that's my lineage, my blood lineage. It's Northern European, and my family name goes way the hell back, and we're learning that because I just found it out. But I've known my birth mom and my birth sister for about 10 years now. We found them through a few emails. We found them, and I actually logged it on my Facebook my MySpace at the time. When I went out to meet her for the first time and met my sister and my nieces and everything. So now I've got this, this birth mom that's out there. I haven't met my dad. Don't know if he's alive or not. My birth father. Don't know if I ever will. But yeah, I saw Robert Meyer Burnett do that. But yeah, my last name's weird. I could have had a normal last name. My mom's last name is Thorne. It could have been Knight or Thorne, but instead I got Beekler. So we'll stick with Nerdrotic. Actually, you guys probably don't even know. My nickname my entire life, people didn't know my name was Gary for the longest time because people call me Beak. Because Beekler, Beak, get it? Mangold Trash for $10. Love the channel. Gary, my classmate, is literally trying to drag me with her to see Birds of Prey, but I really, really don't want to go. Help me. Mangold Trash. If you go with a friend, if anything, you could MST3K it. That's what we used to. Me and my friend Doug used to go to shitty movies all the time and just make fun of them. You could always make the best out of a bad situation. And mockery is good. That's practically what the Phantom Menace was, right? And is. It's mockery. Here in Orlando City Walk, by Mangold Trash. Mangold Trash. I'm going to get a little personal here. Are you a man? Are you male? So it's a female classmate. And okay, so if you're straight and male, I don't want to make any assumptions here. If a female classmate wants to take you to a movie, even if it's bad, you say yes. You just say yes. Now, if you're not, then it can be a friendly thing and that's fine. But a little unsolicited advice, from Gary. Thacio for $1.99. Here in Orlando City Walk, it is super empty too. Oh, well, that's not good. That's not good. That's a major theater too. I hope to go there someday. I want to go to those parks. I really do. I had tickets to go to Disney World, and then 9/11 happened. I ended up not going. Rosetta Allen for $2. Gary, hope you are having a wonderful day. You rock. I am having a wonderful day. I am grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to have this channel. I'm grateful to be talking to you guys. January was pretty good for Nerdrotic. I have to say, I was expecting falling off a cliff because, Star Wars was kind of over, but and quite frankly, the interest in Doctor Who has been tepid. The only reason I still talk about it is because it's personal. I'm mad about Doctor Who. I'm going to continue talking about Doctor Who. I'm not done. I'm going to do live reviews of every show. I will do a video review of the entire season, or if something major happens. And I'll be covering news, and I'll be covering the ratings in a little bit. Star Trek Picard, it seems like interest has waned a little bit, but it's still there. It's still there. As I stated in my live stream last night, it's not a failure. It's by any stretch of the imagination, but it could become one. But the one thing it did do, and I heard this from a well placed inside source, is it's making Star Trek Discovery look really bad, like a lot of us suspected. And it is indeed the case. CBS is going, because they spent more money on Star Trek Discovery than they did Star Trek Picard. And they're getting a better return on Star Trek Picard. So do the math. No tickets sold for 6:30 Friday night and 5 at 7:15 at our Regal 10, and 5 tickets sold at our AMC for 6:15, 7 o'clock, maybe 15 tickets. Dark Star 76 for $5. Dark Star, not to fully dox, like what region are you in? Are you in the Bay Area? No. Just tell me in the chat, Darkstar. Don't give another super chat, please. Nicholas Horton for £5. Hail, Gary. The last 2 episodes of Doctor Who Series 12, Chibnall came out and said in an interview that the finale will feature lots of gal power. I saw that, Nicholas. Actually, we're going to go over that. We're going to talk about that towards the end of the live stream. Thank you, James Dugan. I appreciate that. Yeah, don't forget to hit that like. Please share the video if you can. If you want, when the live stream is over, they go over to Nerdrotic Live. Again, I apologize this is late, but the Nerdrotic Nooners will be back Monday, Wednesday. I did a makeup one yesterday. The Super Chat Square Up is up on Nerdrotic Live, finally. So we're all caught up there. Hollywood has become like Bollywood. Just make a ton of bad movies and hope one will stick. Just keep producing and eventually one of them will be good, says Thassio for $4.99. Yeah, I mean, in a sense, it's always been like that. It's gotten worse. Plus, I think film is dying. I just think theaters are dying. Films are dying now. Dying in the sense of being as important as they were before. I think TV is the future. Honestly, that's why I cover it more. I cover more TV on this channel than movies because there's more to talk about. I'd rather see a 10-episode story play out. That's good. I don't need big spectacly, that's not a word, but big spectacles that are all special effects driven. It got to have a good story behind it now, or I just don't have time for it. And maybe because I'm getting older. But damn, I talk about this a lot, but The Lord of the Rings has certainly aged well. It still looks great. It still holds up because the story is so damn good. And hopefully Peter Jackson and Tolkien Estate doesn't go back and dick with it. Just leave it alone. It's perfect. Lord of the Rings has no remake. Lord of the Rings needs no remake, says Joseph Miskovich for $1.99. Indeed, what I just said. That's why I saved that super chat, Joseph. Thank you so much. I agree 1000%. One of these days, we're going to do an all Lord of the Rings live stream. That's all we're going to talk about. Books. Talk a little bit about the show, the movies, and just, I know it won't be exciting for everyone, but it's my channel. So, Scotty Taylor for $5. How do you feel about the Marvel Disney Plus Super Bowl TV spot trailer? That's what I was talking about in the beginning. I actually got encouraged by it. Now, it doesn't show us very much, so it's just a teaser. It could possibly go woke. But if it doesn't, quite frankly, all 3 of those shows didn't really interest me. It sounded like a lot of mucking around and prequels and stuff. But now that I've seen their idea for it, I gotta say I'm interested in all 3. I am, especially since they're bringing in U.S. Agent. I think Falcon and Winter Soldier could be really good. WandaVision looks weird enough for me to be interested. It could go horribly wrong with that, by the way. And Loki was the one I was, because it's going to essentially be Doctor Who. So yeah, I'm interested now. I am. And I will be reviewing all of them. And guess what? Disney Plus is freaking smart. They're going to release their shows weekly, and people will be talking about them for months. You hear that, Amazon? Oh my, we would just be done talking about The Expanse. The Expanse is a memory. But you know what? People are still talking about The Witcher. That's your exception to the rule. It's got to be a mega hit for it to still be talked about months after it drops. People are still talking about The Witcher. I believe it's still growing in popularity. It was the biggest thing Netflix has done since Stranger Things. It has more potential than Stranger Things. People compare it to like Netflix's Game of Thrones. Nah, Game of Thrones is really grounded fantasy, and this is going to be dark fantasy that can do stuff Game of Thrones wouldn't. And that's what makes it, at least the early Game of Thrones, that's what made it good. The magic was earned. Felt like it was coming back in the world. And part of dark fantasy is you're always in a world in decline. That's kind of, and that's from Tolkien. And a world in change and decline and paradigm shifts, kind of like what Hollywood is in. But Scotty, I was a little encouraged by it, to be quite honest with you. Rosetta Allen. Now, Rosetta, before I get to you, Scotty, the one thing I was worried about with WandaVision, it was going to be feminist empowerment, but no, it looks like a really interesting show. So, good for them if they do it, if they pull it off. Rosetta Allen for $2. Can't wait to see the country and different Phantom Menace peeps. I can't wait either. One of my favorite things to do is to meet you guys. For Star Wars Celebration, I highly doubt I'm going to go into the show. There's nothing there that interests me. But I do. The reason I'm going down is to meet you guys. So I can't wait. I'm thinking about. I've talked to Jeremy about this, but I'll go ahead and do it because he's got major expenses going on. I want to rent out like a bar or something so we can do a meetup. Maybe I'll get a taco truck, kind of like what I did with my TV, with my TV parties at my comic shop. I would get a taco truck. We would play the show. I didn't charge a penny. The taco truck charged for their tacos, but it was like $1. It was reasonable. But I didn't charge anybody to come in or anything, and I wouldn't do it here. So it will be a meetup, Star Wars Celebration somewhere in Anaheim. I'll rent out a place. We can hang out, have fun. It'll be a bar so you drinkers can drink. I'm okay in bars. I don't drink, but I won't be tempted. I would never liked alcohol that much, Gary, I agree. I went to Twilight movies because I was asked by the girl. God, those were horrible. A movie I wanted everyone to die. Yep. I was perplexed why anybody would like Bella or Belle, whatever her name was. And yes, I went to those movies because Mrs. Nerdrotic has diligently gone to every single superhero film with me. Now, she will complain about it, but she likes the superhero movies as much as I do. So, there. But she's gone to every one. Basically, I mean, your wife is your date for life. So you can't the only time I go to movies by myself is if work schedules conflict, and that's it. Theaters are dying from both bad movies and cost. You are right, Rosetta Allen. Yeah, the going woke thing was it's just like comics. It's the straw that broke the camel's back, but there was problems long before the ultra woke stuff came in. And god damn, I was watching one live stream where just conflation comes in. It's like pop culture has always been progressive. We're not talking about, for one, progressive is a newer term. We're not talking about left and right. At least I'm not. Because I'm not a right wing person. Nor am I a left wing person. I'm talking about partisan, on the nose, divisive, mean-spirited storytelling because of an election. I mean, that's basically what happened. I don't want anybody's politics to change. I understand what pop culture has been. I have been immersed in pop culture for 4 decades. So I get it. I haven't been not paying attention. Okay. And the reason I invoke the comic shop so much is because fandom was my business, and not every comic shop owner does this, but I really made it my business to study trends, listen to fans, try to figure them out. I mean, at the end, ultimately, I figured out you can't. You just can't. But this was something I was overly interested in before I bought the comic shop. This was stuff I sold records and cassette tapes and VHSs at the Warehouse Records prior to my blue collar job, and it's a very similar job. And I love those jobs. They paid for shit, but I love those jobs. You could play whatever music you want, watch whatever movie. It was great. It was great. And that's why it worked at the comic shop. But I got to talk to fans every single day in person. I got to hear every one of their opinions. There was never any severe arguments. I mean, there would be some Marvel versus DC stuff that got pretty heated in the shop, but never. And we never got political. Although there is politics in individual comics, there's messaging, but generally, if it's just part of the story and it's genuine, it doesn't bother anybody. It's not part of the story and genuine anymore. It's actually the priority before you tell the story. And then if you simply call it out, well, whoa, istrophobe, because it confirms somebody's bias, so they like it. And like I said before, I used to be accused of liking everything. I was liking too much. And I am more forgiving than others on some stuff, but that's how bad it's gotten, quite frankly. Hey, Gary. Hi, Gary. So have you seen the Indiana Jones 5 trailer? Even if the movie sucks, it is still better than the stuff out there. AKA Blonded, I have not seen it. I didn't know it existed. I thought they just announced Harrison Ford. I honestly was kind of hoping this will be the first movie they de-age somebody the entire film and try that with Indiana Jones. I think that would be cool. You can go right back into the Nazi era. Now there's a fan one. But yeah, I didn't know an Indiana Jones trailer came out. Am I missing it? Let me know, aka Blonded. But I have not seen an Indiana Jones 5 trailer. Toss a coin to your Witcher. Gary, please play Witcher 3. Want to see your review. Says Catalan Pop for 25 Rons. That's the monetary. It says RON, so I call it Rons. Yes, I will. I have it right here. Hang on, this will probably destroy my connection, but give me just a second. No, I'm not going to play a video game on the internet, ever. I know people like that stuff. I know you do. And God bless you. I would rather watch grass grow than watch somebody play a video game. Oh, did my kids log me out? Those little shits. Oh, where did my library go? There it is, right there. We're going to go down here. My library is huge. I have a lot of games that I've never played. There it is. Here, just to let you know. Oh, it's not going to show, is it? That's weird. Why does it block it out? Yeah, it's not showing it. That's an OBS thing. Now you just have to trust me on it. I'm going to close it out because it really kills my connection. But it's there. It's there. Catalin, after I do my Witcher review, I'll play it a little bit, and I'll do it for my patrons. I'm horrifically bad at video games. I play some well. I was good at City Heroes and pretty decent at Red Dead Redemption. Got pretty good at Diablo after a very patient friend kind of walked me through it for a long time. Bless his heart. He had a lot of patience. Kent Barnes for $10. We'll do all in I can to make a Lord of the Rings stream. From the ashes, a fire shall be woken. A light from the shadows shall spring. Renewed shall be the blade that was broken. The crownless again shall be king. Not all the gold that is glitter. Not all gold glitters. Not all who wander are lost. Yes, indeed. Yes, I will do a Lord of the Rings stream. I heard I got mentioned on Men of the West. I hope it was positive. That's a lore. It's a Lord of the Rings lore YouTube channel. Go check it out. If you want to know some really easily digestible Lord of the Rings lore that you don't want to, if you don't want to get yourself involved in the Silmarillion, that's a good place to go. They're really good. And I like that channel quite a bit. I don't think they put anything up for a while. There's a lot of good Song of Ice and Fire channels as well. Felipe Abrigo for 5,000 Chilean pesos. People misspell my last name too. You have the accent. You have to accent the A. Anyway, it is translated to English as coat. So I am officially Philip Coat. I am kind of a musician and will start using that name. There you go. Abrigo. So you have to accent the A. I just go Abrigo. But that's not accenting the A. So Beekler means book reader. Basically like a bookworm. That's what I heard anyway. And Gary, the first name was not a rank, the spear carrier. Gary used to be somebody who carried the spear in the, I don't know, it wasn't Roman. It was, I can't remember now. But if you carried the spear, you were the Gary. There's jokes there that we could just leave alone right now. We could just leave them alone. Marathon live stream commentary all 3 films in a row. Oh, I don't know if my voice can handle that. But yeah, I'd try. Why not? I mean, like 10 people would watch it, but why the hell not? Let's go. I want to read that Doctor Who article now. Give me just a second here, folks. And then we're going to talk about the stunning and brave first female Doctor played by Jodie Whittaker. This was Doctor Who news. Oh, you know what sucks is I hit Doctor Who news and sometimes it catches an article that says Doctor Who, and we're getting the Chinese Doctor Who tried to warn others about coronavirus. Yeah, I get this right now. No, that's not working. Jesus, boomer. There we go. Yeah, I get that. That's not... All right, let's go to the Mirror. God damn. There we go. So, this is going to be, okay, tell me if you've heard this one before. Doctor Who will battle an entire army of Cybermen in the 2-part finale, according to show boss Chris Chibnall. New figures today showed that the New Year's Day special featuring Lenny Henry as a baddie and Stephen Fry as the MXC boss, was watched by 7.4 million. Huh? Well, that's funny. That's not what, here, let's go this. So they did this last time, folks. Now I'm calling some bullshit on this. Actually, more people watched it than you thought it did, and the ratings aren't sinking as much as they thought. So, the ratings accumulator originally said it was watched by 6.89 million people. So once again, like they did last season, they went into the BBC's couch and they found a bunch of views. How do you find 400,000 more views? Unless they're counting America. And that's what I'm guessing they're doing. And Chibnall says the ending, guest starring Shetland's Julie Graham as an all-action hero, would be even more spectacular. Last month's fans heard Captain Jack, John Barrowman, tell the Doctor, played by Jodie Whittaker, I'm sorry, the first female Doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, 37, to beware the lone Cybermen. But Chibnall revealed there will be far more than one of the classic alien monsters on the way. Why would he feel the need to say this? Why would they go out in public and spoil the end of your special unless you were worried nobody was going to watch? Doctor Who will battle an entire army of Cybermen in the two-part finale, according to the show boss, Chris Chibnall. First Black Doctor Who, Jo Martin, is definitely the Doctor, confirms show's boss. I just love the first Black Doctor. That's what she's going to be forever, for the rest of her life. It's probably one of the most epic space opera stories we've done. It's a big Cyberman story, the last two-parter. There are a lot of Cybermen coming in this series. So if you didn't hear, there's going to be a lot of Cybermen. There's going to be an army of Cybermen. It's a big Cyberman story. There's going to be a lot of Cybermen. He added, it might start with one Cyberman, but you'll see a lot. Okay, so I don't know did you catch that? Let me repeat it. There's going to be a lot of Cybermen. It's a big Cyberman story with a lot of Cybermen that might start out with one Cyberman, but there's going to be a lot of Cybermen, an army of Cybermen. Did you get that? Okay. There's going to be a lot of Cybermen. Just, I didn't want you guys to miss it. Just in case, we're going to show a picture of a lot of Cybermen. Oh, it's as epic and emotional as the opening two-parter. You mean frustrating and, yeah, that's emotion. That's emotion. Frustrating and exasperation. That would be more of the words I would apply to the opener. Not epic and emotional, frustrating and exasperating. I know it takes place across a big distance from space. There's fantastic spaceships. There's Cybermen. Okay, just so you know, guys, there's Cybermen in the last episode. And it's not just one, it's a lot. Julie Graham, 54, will also guest star in the two-part finale as an all-action hero. Right up there with Laurie Blake, the 72-year-old dentured all-action hero from Wokeman. Can't wait to see that. I'm sure you guys heard the James Cameron interviews where he was talking about bringing in Sarah Connor and talking about the ageism in Hollywood. And, well, 72-year-old men get to go out and be action stars and get the girl. Why can't we do that with women? You can try. Do we want to see action grandma? Now, listen, Julie's only 4 years older than me, but I'm old. But as Nicholas Horton said in the super chat earlier, we're going to get some girl power. I'll be very upfront about this. The show that used to be for everyone used to be for everyone. It used to have a little bit of everything. And that's why people would go flock to my store to watch it. Gay, straight, all colors, all persuasions. We all sat there and enjoyed Doctor Who. It was Doctor Who that decided to exclude its masculinity. Yes, Doctor Who is missing its masculinity. And it's just a freaking after-school special at this point. I'm not saying it needs to be an action show filled with guns a-blazing and huge muscles and Stallone and Schwartz. No, but it still had some. Okay, but it was that evil word that you can't use anymore. Somewhat patriarchal, somewhat fatherly. Okay, it's missing that. That was the core DNA of the show. You can't take that away. And it's missing. Julie, who played Ruby in the spinoff The Sarah Jane Adventures, which was a good show, a good after-school special show, a good show for kids, which had 2 very good Doctor appearances, and a show that had one of the better villains that I wish they would have imported into Doctor Who, the Trickster. Was delighted to land the new role of an all-action hero. She says, I've always been a huge fan, so I felt like a kid in a sweet shop. Thought it said sweatshop for a second there. Next week episode is set. By the way, they're building up this last 2 episodes, and they go, oh, by the way, next week's episode is set on the night Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein. So it's just a filler episode. Don't worry about it. Next week's episode will be the lowest rated episode of the series. I predict that right now. Opening up about the spooky upcoming episodes. So we keep hearing that these episodes are going to be spooky and cinematic and huge and filled with action. And they're just bad. Chibnall admitted that it has a proper haunting storyline. Oh, I just keep thinking of the Chibs video. By the way, mods, if you could share the Chibs video in the chat by those wonderful British kids, Flower Production, I would appreciate it. Watch it after the live stream. You'll get a good kick out of it. He revealed it's a proper haunted house ghost story. After that, prepare to be spooked by the Cybermen. Well, Stephen Moffat said that. So did Neil Gaiman. Hey now. And that's it. I wonder if Radio Times says anything different. Doctor Who, Jodie Whittaker to face an army of Cybermen in epic 2-part finale. Sounds like the lone Cyberman has a few mates after all, but is there a secret second threat to the TARDIS team? Jodie Whittaker, yeah, the Master. Jodie Whittaker's the first female Doctor played by Jodie Whittaker will face a mass of deadly Cybermen in Doctor Who Series 12's 2-part finale. It has been revealed so early, by the way. Last time I checked, we had 3 episodes left, and we're not talking about the next episode at all. Why do they feel the need to build up these last 2 episodes? Is it possibly you swung for the fences and it fell flat? It fell flat. It's probably one of the most epic space opera stories we've done. Is he talking about like his crew or Doctor Who? Maybe he's on opioids. Adding that actor Julie Graham, Shetland, would guest star as an all-action hero. It's an epic and emotional. It's epic. It's as epic and emotional as the opening 2-parter. So repeated information, blah, blah, blah. There will be a lot of Cybermen still. And who knows if this finale is anything like this series' buzzy 5th episode. Yeah, so buzzy by, you know what? It was very buzzy amongst the 10 or 12 people who actually watched it. Yeah. So, and who knows in the finale, if this finale is anything as buzzy as this series or the buzzy fifth episode, which announced, I can't say the fucking word buzzy as an adult. Okay. The buzz surrounding the fifth episode, Stop Writing Like This, which announced the return of the Jadoon, but hid the involvement of Barrowman's Captain Jack or Martin's new doctor. Wrong. There was one person who was out there talking about that doctor coming in. Now, I might not be right about it being the first doctor, but I was talking about another female doctor for a long time. But you know what? I don't need credit. It's fine. It's fine. It might be nothing. She might be like the War Doctor. She might be something else. But I was saying that there was going to be essentially another female doctor. And there was. Might not have gotten the rumor completely right, but I was saying there was another female doctor. It could be that the Cybermen are just a red or silver herring for something even more exciting. Watch this space and time. I'm guessing they will be, because they've just had a hard time with the Cybermen, who can be creepy. And they just don't make them creepy because they're I don't know. I think Moffat had a hard time with it. Chibnall has a hard time with everything. He's just not good at his job. And I'll be glad to be rid of him. I hope he goes somewhere and writes a great drama and has tons of success. Get the hell away from Doctor Who. I don't want anything bad to happen to him. I don't want anything bad to happen to any of these people. I'm a little miffed at some Doctor Who fans, content creators who consider themselves classy adult Doctor Who fans, who have resorted into attacking a couple of, one friend of mine, Noel, and going extremely low. It's shameful, especially from a Doctor Who fan, somebody who's been around for a while, somebody I used to like. Lost a lot of respect. That's all. Maybe he'll apologize. I hope he does. I hope he does. Action Com for $5. Gallup released an article saying U.S. citizens visiting the library outpaced citizens going to movies in 2019. Do you think they're right? Wow. Was it a poll or was it an article? Oh my God, that would be wonderful. That would be the best news ever. Now, is it people going to use the internet there? And, but I mean, it depends. I'm thinking it's percentages. I don't know if that could be right. A lot of people still going to movies. I'd have to see the article. That is interesting. Oh, that'd be a ray of hope in life, wouldn't it? I think it would. It always cuts off this last super chat. Here we go. Java Bean for Australian $2.99. 5 minutes of Lord of the Rings is like a sweet tonic these days. It really is. I have it loaded on my Google Drive so I can access it wherever, whenever. I heard there's a 4K, right? Isn't there Tom, you out there? Isn't there a 4K Lord of the Rings coming? Lord of the Rings 4K Blu-ray release. I heard it was June. Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. There we go. June 25th. Lord of the Rings 4K HDR. The report claims that Warner Brothers is planning to release the titles on UHD Blu-ray in the mid-2020. More specifically, June 25th. Let's make this happen. I hope they do the Hobbit too. I really do. Because I want to see... I actually liked their experimenting with the... how many frames per second was it? Was it 48 or something crazy like that? I actually liked it. I did. I know a lot of people didn't. My kid, Nerdrotic Jr. Oh, speaking of which, I have to go pick up. Yes. I'm like, oh my God, I almost forgot. I still have time though. Nerdrotic Jr. loved The Hobbit. He also loved Tintin. Still talks about it this day. 4K extended edition. It better be the 4K extended edition. If it's not the extended edition, what's up, Quarter Black Garrett? Everybody say hello to Quarter Black Garrett in the house. Hi, Gary. Do you think wokeness and the decline of storytelling are somehow connected, or is it just a coincidence? They go hand in hand these days. That's Russian rubles, by the way. So that's 200 Russian rubles. They do go hand in hand these days. The decline in storytelling is not all because of the wokeness. It's not. It's, I think the wokeness is actually because of the decline in storytelling, because the talent pool is thinned out right now in Hollywood. There's too much going out. So we have people like Alex Kurtzman who don't know how to create or write anything from scratch. They're the most basic, like he can, his grammar is decent. He can write a story. He could probably flesh out some directions on the back of a, laundry detergent container or box, but he can't write a story. So he has to fill it with gimmicks. Mystery box, gender swap, race swap, wokeness. When you see that stuff, you're dealing with soap opera writers, people who just have to fill space. And that's what most of TV is. Yeah. I mean, being ultra talented is rare. Star Trek deserves somebody like that. Doctor Who deserves somebody like that. But now they've been driven away because they're so producer driven and the creator doesn't have the freedom. So you just hire a repurposer now and it becomes cookie cutter. But I think actually the wokeness is a result of the talent pool being thinned out and the writing going downhill. So the superficial wokeness and virtue signaling are gimmicks. They don't care about your cause. These people regularly do coke with hookers in Vegas. That's the norm. I'm sorry, that argument between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard is the norm in Hollywood. All right, kiddos. We had 2 hours. I'm going to call it. We kept almost 1,900 viewers for the whole time, and that's not bad for me not announcing this and doing 2 days in a row. So thank you very much. Welcome to all the new subscribers. We just hit 218,000 subscribers. Never thought I'd get this far. So if it ends tomorrow, I had the best time. I really did. Don't expect this to last forever, but it's still growing, which is great. And we will see what the future is. So to all of our friends and frenemies, and for some reason, the people who don't like me watch my live streams, I don't understand why, especially when one of these people, and they'll know who they are once I say this, was saying, I can't believe they still complain about Rian Johnson. Do you choose to get angry for one? I personally don't complain about Rian Johnson very much. Never have. I've done a video. Doesn't matter. People can do it because he continues to go out and piss fans off. But I don't know why you choose to be angry. But yet you watch our stuff. But it makes you angry. Consistency in argument. But keep it up, kiddo. Keep it up, kiddo. Maybe you'll build up your channel and do your own thing. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. It is. I'm having a blast. So Patreon, I'll see you later today. We'll do a Patreon evening nooner. And tomorrow will be silent, unfortunately. Tomorrow will be silent because I have to travel. But tonight I will be live after Picard. So about midnight, 12:15. So Australia, usually up around that time. If you're on the West Coast and you're a night owl, I don't expect anybody on the East Coast to be up at 3 a.m, but they might be. I will be live right after Picard. I will leave the episode up for most of the day so you can watch it. If it is missing, don't forget to go over to Nerdrotic Live. That's where all my live streams go. This one will be up in about 3 hours. Thank you to the Modrotics, Chris Persia, Paola, RL, what's up, Paola? Quarter Black Garrett, Chris Persia. Welcome to all the new members. Computing. Oh, Dave Cullen, what's up? You cheeky fucker. You cheeky fucker. Dave, do you want to join us for our Doctor Who review on Sunday? I think that would be great. I'll shoot you an email right now. As soon as I end this broadcast, I'll shoot you an email. I don't know if you do StreamYard or not, but I'd love to have you on. We had some people requesting your presence. Unfortunately, you won't have to watch the episode. You can just talk about Doctor Who. I don't care. You don't have to watch that crap episode. But I wanted to put it out there. I know I'm shitty to get a hold of. I've got to go pick up my kid, but I'm going to send you an email right now. Quarter Black Garrett again. Thank you, Chris Persia. Thank you for the wrench. Mark Lerzeth. Who else was here? According to Christy, the Cinema Queen, who's out there, DJ D Show, and all the rest. Remember, kids, not all who wander are lost.